Now, good evening, everybody, and
Yes.
welcome to Weeknights with Wonder Girls. I'm Mabel.
Hello, I'm Cheryl. Hope everybody enjoyed the Visa Day holiday yesterday and had a good Friday.
Yes, perhaps you have caught a glimpse of what both Sharon and I were chatting earlier on. We would like to know whether have you been to Switzerland before? If you have been there, type Swiss in the comments to let us know. Or you can participate in our poll that will be coming on later. Please give us a like and share this live session. Remember to keep the engagement up because we have 2 Swiss branded water bottles from Switzerland Tourism up for grabs. They will be given to 2 lucky winners with the most engagement during our live session.
Meanwhile, allow me to share a little bit about ourselves if you are new to Travel Wonder. We are a licensed online and offline travel company based in Singapore. We specialize in active holidays. Join us in the future if you are looking for cycling, hiking, or running holidays overseas. We are also good in bespoke travel. We can plan all sorts of vacations that you desire, such as romantic getaways, rest and relaxation trips, and even family fun trips, according to your requirement. Our website is www.travel-wonder.com. Remember to check us out when you are ready to travel.
This evening, we are happy to have Oliver from Switzerland Tourism to share more about his lovely country.
Talking about Switzerland, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Tell us in the comment. Remember, we have 2 souvenirs to be given away. Mabel, what is the first thing you think of about Switzerland?
The Swiss cows.
I would expect you to say that. For me, it's definitely the Swiss chocolate.
Yeah, I also know you would say that.
Without further delay, please join us to welcome Oliver from Switzerland Tourism.
Hello,
Hi,
everybody.
Oliver.
Hello.
Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Mabel.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, Oliver. How has your day been?
Fantastic. I was looking forward to the evening and to share some stories about Switzerland with you and your audience.
That's nice.
That's
good.
nice. That's good to know.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to know that the first thing you think about when you hear Switzerland is cows and chocolate. That's okay. I'm okay with that.
I know there are more.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
more.
but this is one of the best things we have. I agree.
Yeah. No, you can't blame me because I'm born in the year of the ox. So any friends and family who went Switzerland, they always take pictures of the cows and send it to me.
Okay.
You know? So that's why even the souvenirs they buy back for me is all the Swiss cows.
You mean something like that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I have one.
Over to you. Oh, you already have one. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, talking about that, our viewers actually have more taste than us, okay?
Okay.
We ask them what comes to their mind when they think of Switzerland. Okay, hey, their answers is much more refined than our cows and chocolate.
That's true.
Okay. Hi, Wyatt says, Switzerland is my most loved country. Yay, we have a supporter here.
Yes.
Yeah, and then Wyatt mentioned fondue, Alps. Paul, hello, Paul, good evening. Paul says
Yeah, hi,
Matterhorn. Yeah, and then Wang Sui San is a very refined Thai lady, you know. You know, chocolate, Rolex, mountains.
Yeah. And Wai was saying the Swiss perfect precision.
Yeah, that one I have to attest to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before I take a back seat and enjoy Oliver's presentation, to our viewers, please continue to give us many likes, comment, and share this live session. Remember, we have 2 souvenirs from Switzerland Tourism to be given away to 2 viewers with the most engagements. Oliver, can you tell us what do you intend to give away to our viewers?
Yes, I have it here. It's a wonderful branded thick water bottle with Switzerland on it and a map of Switzerland. So whenever you go to Switzerland next time with a travel wonder, this is a perfect thing to bring along to fill some water and always get hydrated.
Yeah.
Indeed. Looks so pretty.
Yes, and it's from the branded
light.
It's from the branded thick brand from Switzerland. So all of you must work very hard on this session to win them. So to win them, simply like, comment as many as you can,
Mm-hmm.
and share the live broadcast. If you have any questions to ask Oliver regarding his presentation on Switzerland, feel free to input them in the comments, and we will respond later during the Q&A session. So now over to you, Mabel.
Okay, so for all our trips, you can actually go to our website at www.travel-wonder.com to have a look at all the active holidays that we have. For our Switzerland trips, you actually need to search under destination and then under the country Switzerland. You'll be able to see our close to 40 different itineraries on cycling and hiking trips in Switzerland. Please subscribe to our mailing list if you have not done so. You'll be able to receive all the latest updates from us when we send out our e-newsletter every Friday. All our past trips, photos, and videos are available on our social media platform on Facebook as well as YouTube. Okay, now it's back to Oliver.
Thank you very much, Mabel, and thank you very much, Cheryl, that I have the chance to be the guest presenter tonight. It's a big honor for me and a big privilege. And to start with, I want to share an emotional picture. For me, Switzerland is emotional, and this one is special because this was something that happened exactly 2 weeks ago when the village of Zermatt decided to project a huge Singapore flag on the Matterhorn. So this is not a fake. It's also not somehow photoshopped. It really happened. And this was a little sign of hope and solidarity with best wishes from Switzerland to Singapore. And what I like about this picture is not only the nice scenery, it's also a fact that my two countries, after living 6 years in Singapore, I feel home here as well. It unites my both homes in one image. For the first timers, or for those guys who have never been to Switzerland, a quick brush up or a quick introduction where Switzerland is and some main information. So we are in the middle of Switzerland, of Europe. Surrounded by France, Germany, Austria, Italy, and the Principality of Liechtenstein. Maybe you've never heard about this little principality, but we are also the tourist port for this country. Then here about Switzerland, a quick introduction to maybe get a better understanding for later when I talk about certain regions. Here in the north, we see Zurich, that's where the international airport is, where the direct flights from Singapore arrive, with Schaffhausen, the Lake Constance area, and Basel. Then a bit further to the center, we have Lucerne. This is considered central Switzerland with the whole Lucerne and Lake Lucerne region. Then a bit more to the left with Berne, our capital, and further in the south, Interlaken, a very famous touristic region. This is considered the German-speaking part of Switzerland. More to the left or to the west, we have the Lake Geneva region and Geneva, and also a bit more in the south, the Valais. This is considered the French-speaking part of Switzerland. And then a bit more to the right, we have Lugano and the canton of Ticino. That's the Italian part of Switzerland. And on the very right, in the east, Grisons. This is the only canton that even has 3 languages. It's German, Italian, and our 4th national language, Romansh. Just as a quick introduction. At a glance, population 8 million, area is about 56 times bigger than Singapore, but we only have a few people more living in our country because we don't have that much space for houses, because our mountains, our lakes, our forests, they need quite a lot of space already. Languages, I mentioned is 4 languages in those areas. The altitudes from 193 meters to 4,600 meters. So you see there's quite a big difference in regards of altitude, and in that case also in case of climate. Then we have 4 seasons. This gives you a perfect opportunity to come 4 times to Switzerland. You can go to the same place and it looks every time a bit different. You can travel to Switzerland all year round. And now to avoid one of the questions in the end, opening hours of shops, because I know everyone wants to go shopping. Generally, shops are open from 9 to 6, but of course there are always some exceptions depending on where the shops are and what they sell. The main stations, train stations, airports, where we have a lot of people commuting, certain shops stay open already at 6 o'clock in the morning, and some they only open at 9 o'clock in the evening. But in general, on Sundays, the shops are usually closed, but also there are exceptions, essential shops at the main train stations, airport, and in some touristic destinations. The shops are even open on Sundays. I want to give you 5 reasons to visit Switzerland. Actually, I have many, many more, but we don't have that much time, so I try to give you only 5 and cluster it a little bit. So first and foremost is the nature experience. We have wonderful mountains, we have forests, we have clean water, we have fresh air. It's really a real natural experience as such, the country. Then we have our cities. In the cities, you find culture, you find shopping, you find excellent gastronomy, and we call our cities boutique towns. The reason why is the cities are usually quite small compared to the cities you might know from Asia. The biggest city only has 380,000 inhabitants, so that's not much. So the city centers are usually small and everything is in walking distance, so it's easy to explore. And another point, because the cities are so small, it means they're also close to nature and mountains. So within 20-30 minutes, you already reach a hill or a mountain or something like that. You drive 10-15 minutes, you're outside the city, you already see the countryside. Then accessibility. This is a big and important point. We have short distances within the country. We have excellent streets. We have excellent trains. So within no time, you can really cross the whole country. Fourth reason, it's 4 seasons and 4 different ways of experiencing one country. And last but not least, the variety. To my opinion, in Switzerland, you have a little bit of everything for everyone. Then, how can you get there? The most simple way is to travel by Swiss International Airlines. Once all the airplanes are up in the air again, there is a daily night flight directly to Zurich. So the best part about it, before you're getting tired or when you're getting tired, you just enter the plane, and when you wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you're ready for the day. And the same thing when you want to or when you have to fly back. It's a night flight. Instead of checking into a hotel, you check into the airplane. You have a nap, you sleep, you wake up, and you're back to Singapore. Once you are in Switzerland, how do you travel around? The best thing is do it the Swiss way. We are people of public transportation. We love our trains, we love our buses, we love our boats. We do that to commute when we go to work, but also on our spare time when we want to do some excursions. We often take the train because it's just very convenient. For tourists, there is one magical ticket. It's called the Swiss Travel Pass. It exists in different forms or for different days. It's valid for 3, 4, 9, or 15 days. And you have unlimited rides. So every train, every bus, every boat is included. This is how it looks like. And I strongly recommend to buy the ticket already in Singapore. So before you start traveling, get your ticket, because then you're all set to travel around in Switzerland. And it's not a big surprise, but I know our Wonder Girls, they can help you to get this ticket. And another thing that you might use is the Swiss Travel Guide app free of charge from the train company. It helps you, on one hand, to plan your itinerary. You can make your wish list with all the experiences or places you want to see. Then you can check all the train connections, the timetables. You can track your trip. You can tick off all the things you've done, and there are even some kind of coupons that you get some special deals when you are somewhere. So absolutely recommendable. Even I use it all the time. This train experience is combined in a touristic product called the Grand Train Tour of Switzerland. It's 1,280 kilometers of beauty and magnificent views. On the Grand Tour, you only travel on panoramic trains. So it's not the fastest connection, but it's usually the most beautiful connections. And it merges all these lines, these panoramic lines, and there is no prescribed direction or duration. You can hop on and hop off whenever and wherever you want. Of course, once you're in one of the trains where you had to do a seat reservation, then I recommend to stay in the train and not hop off. Otherwise, your reservation is gone. Here are a few images about the scenic train adventures. I think they're really stylish and connected, or maybe when I look at the picture, I have to say they're connected and stylish, because on the left-hand side, it's the connection. This is a picture of the Gotthard Panorama Express, which is a combination of train and boat. You start in the Ticino, which is the Italian southern part of Switzerland, by train. You cross the Alps via the Gotthard route, which is a historic route, historic alpine crossing. And then you reach the German part of Switzerland, here the Lake Lucerne area in Flüelen, and the train stops, you alight, you walk 50, 60 meters, and then the paddle steamer you see in the picture is already waiting. You hop on the paddle steamer, and it will bring you on a beautiful lake cruise on Lake Lucerne to the city of Lucerne. So no waiting time, nothing. So this is really very well connected. And the stylish part on the left, this is when you try, or when you feel like having something like a top-notch experience, you can use or choose the excellence class of the Glacier Express. This is really first class. Only 20 seats in this car, only window seats. There is a bar, there is a butler service. They serve you a gourmet lunch during the train ride. Yes, in Switzerland, you can eat and drink in the trains. It's not forbidden, no fine. So it's absolutely okay and absolutely recommendable. For those who are staying in a city and they still want to do a mountain excursion, there is a new product called Mountain Day Trips. With one ticket, you can just go from the city in the morning. You have your breakfast in the hotel. Then you go here, for example, the Lucerne region, city of Lucerne. We have an option to go, for example, to the Mount Stanserhorn or the Mt Titlis. These are the mountains near Lucerne. So it's a half day or a day trip, depending which one you choose. And two special things about those mountain experiences. Maybe I start with the one on the right, Mt Titlis. This is a revolving kind of gondola. So it rotates 360 degrees while you're going up to the summit. It will turn once and you have a full panoramic 360 view. The one on the left, Stanserhorn, for those with the very good eagle eyes, they see there are some people standing on top of the cabin. And yes, that's true. This is the first of its kind, like a rooftop terrace cabin. So people can also stand in the normal cabin, but if you feel like having some fresh air and even a better view, you just climb up the stairs and you can enjoy also a kind of a 360 view. Once you're done, maybe after a nice lunch on the mountaintop, you go back to the city and you have all the conveniences again. But now you need some activation. We are here to talk about active holidays. And Switzerland is really a place that energizes you. And if you need activation, then you need Switzerland. There is a network for all the active people in Switzerland, which combines the hiking, cycling, mountain biking, skating, and canoeing routes. So whole Switzerland, is like organized in routes, so you can just follow them and just explore the country on foot or on bikes. I will focus on the first two, and I start with hiking. That's the easiest one. So these are usually the signs that you have for the hikings, the yellow ones with the red and white arrow. You always see the destination, you see the estimated time of walking and what kind of things you have to do in those places. Maybe whether there is a bus stop or a church or a hotel or whatever. Thanks to 65,000 kilometers of waymarked trails, you can choose whatever you want, whether you want to walk along a river, walk along or crossing mountains, themed trails, city walks, you name it. We have a little bit of everything. So what I want to do now is I want to explain you the different kind of trails. I give you some examples, the national routes, and yeah, share with you some of my favorites. So there are 7 national routes. So national routes are really the long ones. They usually go once cross country, like here the Via Alpina. If you complete the whole Via Alpina, it takes a while. So you cannot do this in 1 week holiday. You have to come back again, because this route is 390 kilometers long, divided into 20 stages, and you will see 14 mountain passes if you complete everything. But the good thing is, because it's divided into stages that are usually about 20 kilometers long, you can easily do that. You can do that in 1 day. And if you have 2-3 days, maybe you want to do 2 stages and with an overnight, or you want to do some shortcuts, you take a train and go to another place and do another stage. Another one, a bit a longer one, that is also very famous, is the Via Jacobi. This is the St. James path. This is then really for those with a lot more time, because this is 645 kilometers long. The grades are easy. The medium, the fitness level is medium, so you don't have to be a very, very experienced hiker for that. Then the next level are the regional routes. So we have 63 regional routes. As the name says, it's not crossing the whole country, it's just in certain areas. And you will see on the bottom left corner the number. This is always the number you see on the signposts. So you can just follow those numbers and you make sure you're on the right track. One trail I want to recommend is the Chemin du Vignoble. This is in the French part of Switzerland, in the Valais, and it's nothing else than the vineyard path. So you will be walking through the vineyards of the Valais region, one of the most famous wine regions of Switzerland. The whole route is 65 kilometers long, divided into 4 stages. It's easy, and the fitness level is medium. As you can see here on the picture, it's mainly flat. Of course, sometimes it goes up a little bit or down a little bit, but it's really feasible. The next one, and this is one of my favorites, it's called the Planet Trail. I will give you my version of this. It's not, you won't complete the whole trail, but you will do the Oliver version of it. First of all, it starts in Zurich, city of Zurich. There I recommend to do the first couple of meters with a mountain train. From the main station, you drive up to Zurich's house mountain called Uetliberg. It's a 20-minute ride. And then you arrive here. This is on top on the viewing platform of Mount Uetliberg. And from here, you can really overlook the city of Zurich, which would be on the left on the picture. Then the Lake Zurich, and far behind, you see the snow-covered mountain peaks of the Swiss Alps. And you also see the forests and the valleys in the surroundings of Zurich. On top there, you have in case you're already hungry or thirsty, there is a nice restaurant with a nice terrace and the viewpoints, so you can still get some snacks or get some drinks to get ready for the hike. From there, you walk along the ridge. You can see the path on the picture. So it's like snake lines along the ridge, and it's only 6.5 kilometers to the cable car station called Felseneck. I can quickly show you a map or the plan. So you see it goes up and down a little bit, but not too much. Officially, they recommend, or they say it takes about 2 hours, but this is really easy speed. Once you reach at Felseneck, you take a cable car down to the city of Adliswil, and from there you can take the train back to Zurich main station, which is the last stop of this train ride. In only 16 minutes, you are back in the city of Zurich. So this is actually a wonderful half-day hiking experience out of a city. Then the third level of the hiking routes are the local routes, 316. Of course, they're getting more and more, but they're also getting shorter and shorter. Also, one of my favorites is here. It's called the Schaffhauser Grenzweg, which means is the, border walk is a bit a bad word, but it's Schaffhausen is the city in the north of Zurich, and there is, of course, there is the border to Germany. The two highlights is on one hand side, on the left, the Rhine Falls, the biggest waterfall in Switzerland. It's really impressive. So once you are there and you see the water masses that are falling down, it's like 23 meters per second. That's the speed they have. It's really nice. And you see there is a little castle in the middle of the river. This is actually a restaurant. And from there you can take a little boat that brings you to this middle rock you see in between the waterfall, in the middle of the waterfall. It's quite a dramatic kind of boat ride, nothing dangerous, but you might get wet a little bit, so get ready for that. On the right-hand side, we have the city of Schaffhausen with the Munot Castle. This is the iconic building in Schaffhausen. And just below, you see the boat that will bring you up the river Rhine to the Lake Constance area. And maybe a funny story about this castle, this Munot Castle. You see a tower there, and the top part of this tower is a flat for the Munot Guardian. There's really one guy living up there, and his job is as simple as it sounds. His job is to ring the bell at 9 o'clock in the evening. And he still does this with his own hands and not with any mechanic. So he really has to pull the strings. Of course, he does other things up there. Instead of ringing the bell, he also takes care of the whole fortress there. He makes some guided tours. But this is really, he's an employee of the city of Schaffhausen, and that's his main job. Then I also want to talk about a few special hikes that are not necessarily part of some routes, because when you are somewhere in a mountainous area, there you can just go up to one of the mountains and there are some hiking routes around. This one here is in the eastern part of Switzerland. It's called Alpstein area, and these are several peaks. And you see on the right-hand side, you see this mountain hut, this mountain inn. And now in this area, there is a beer brewery. And those guys, they don't only produce beer, they also produce single malt, which is rather surprising for Switzerland that they produce single malt whiskey there, but they do, and I tell you, it's good. And those guys, they had an interesting idea. They thought, let's do for those mountain inns one specific and exclusive whiskey. So 26 of those huts in this area, they have their own single malt, 26 different malts. So they shipped one big cask to this inn. And once you travel and hike and stop there, you can have a sample. And if you're a collector, then it will look like this on the right-hand side. You have your 26 little bottle. It's a 1 CL, and you can bring them home to Singapore I think it's even if you're two together, then it's no problems at the border, at the customs. Of course, it might take a while to complete the whole so-called Whisky Trail, just as a side note. Then something else. This is less dangerous than it looks like, because those black-nosed sheep, they're really originally from the Valais area. They love people. They are not dangerous. They are really harmless. They're very sociable. You can go and visit them. They even organized hikes, and you can really do what people do here. You can touch them, and you can take some pictures. And as it has been mentioned before by Mabel and Cheryl, it's not photoshopped. This is true. And we saw this picture before in the introduction. You can always go and walk the St. Bernard's dogs. This is maybe something more for family, or for, of course, for dog lovers, but definitely a nice experience. But hiking makes you hungry. So what would you do? Of course, you eat. And since you are in the rural areas, I want to share a very nice experience, something very unique and very authentic. When you see this picture, you might think, yeah, but this doesn't really look like a restaurant, right? And yes, because it isn't. This is actually a barn from a farmer. And there are more than one farmer. They had this brilliant idea to showcase their abilities and to pamper visitors with their food. So they cook at home, and you can visit them at their farm and have a freshly prepared meal. This is called Swiss Tavolata, and it's really fresh from the farm. It's their product. It's what they grow, and it's seasonal, and it's really something where you can meet the locals. And it's actually quite easy to book it, because you just have to go to the website of the Swiss Tavolata. You select the place and the family. You even see the picture of the person who cooks. You see the menus they offer. You contact them, you book, and then you enjoy the Tavolata with Swiss people. Tavolata is actually from the Italian, but it means something. It means more or less something like a round table or a company. So it's really something that you share together. Absolutely recommendable. The food is good, and I promise you, you won't be hungry when you leave. It's usually a 3 or a 4 course dinner. You can choose whether you want to have some wine with it or not. So it's definitely worth to try. After a sumptuous meal, you have to go back and do some activity, but now we take 2 wheels. Makes it a bit easier. And we talk about cycling now. Here, similar to hiking, we also have different routes. The national, the regional, and the local ones. The signposts look a bit different. Before we had the yellow ones, but now we have the reddish ones. You always see the distance and the destination as well. You even see here the signs of the routes with the specific number, and you see whether it's suitable for road bikes or for mountain bikes. One of the national routes I want to introduce to you is the Rhone route. Rhone is one of the biggest rivers in Switzerland, and 3 out of 9 routes are along the biggest river, River Rhone, River Rhine, and Aare. And obviously it's very suitable to cycle along a river, and usually we do it from the beginning to the end, or let's say from higher grounds to lower grounds, so it makes it a bit less strenuous. When you see on the map the red dots, it's the whole route, and you see you really cover along or quite a big part of the country. Where does it start? It starts up in the mountains. It starts sometimes in summertime. There's still some snow. But as we heard before, even though you're up in the mountains, it doesn't feel that cold. Otherwise, the cyclist, he would wear long pants. You start with a nice downhill ride, and after that, you will reach the Valley. Here we go. We saw that before. There are some vineyards as well. So there's a nature park. So the whole scenery changes. You have a lot of forests. You also have, you see there, a little bit of the River Rhone. You continue the ride further down, or sometimes up again through the vineyards again. If you don't feel like cycling up that much, there is always along this route an option to cycle flat. Maybe not that picturesque, but maybe as a shortcut, it's absolutely okay. Then after the Valais, you will reach the Lake Geneva region. You will pass by the Chillon Castle. This is from the 12th century, and it's the most visited historical site in whole Switzerland. So if you have time, make a quick stop and enjoy this castle at the Lake Geneva before you continue along the shores and you reach Geneva. Sometimes you even reach it on the same day if you're very active. Otherwise, there are also several possibilities to split it and do it on different days. And something I recommend at the very end of the tour, because it's the Rhone route, here we see the so-called junction. And again, here, if you have good eyes, then you see the watercolors are different on the left and on the right of the picture. So the one on the right is the River Rhone, and the one on the left is the River Arve that comes from France, and then they merge just after the city center of Geneva, and later it will go to France and then into the Mediterranean Sea. So what if you're getting tired on this long bicycle ride? I mean, some people, they might be able to go and complete the whole stretch, and some think, okay, now I need a break. No problem. Just go to the next train station, transport your bike and yourself by train, and relax while admiring the landscape. And maybe you even spot your colleagues who are still cycling. The prices, nothing comes for free. There is, and maybe this is a fun fact to you, but bicycles need a train ticket. There is a reduced price for it, of course. For a point-to-point ticket, you pay 50% of a regular second-class ticket, but there is a price cap. The day bike pass costs 14 Swiss francs, which is 20 Sing dollars, more or less. And then you could transport your bike the whole day through whole Switzerland. So this is the price cap. For those who are coming back again and again and again several times a year, they can even consider to buy an annual pass if they feel like taking train rides with the bike. The next route I want to introduce is the so-called Herzroute, or in English is the heart route. And the reason why I want to talk about this route is not because of the beautiful scenery. Here you see the Eigermönch and Jungfrau in the back. It's also not because it's perfectly situated between the two beautiful cities of Lucerne and the capital of Berne. You might think this could be the reason. These shingle roof houses that are could date back to 17th and 18th century. No. The reason why I chose the heart route you can see on this picture. And no, it's not the apple blossoms, our Swiss sakura. It is more the bikes that you can see, because these bikes are e-bikes. And e-bikes are, especially in this part of the heart route, I'm just talking about the area between Lucerne and Berne. It's called the Emmental, the Emmen Valley. It's a beautiful landscape, but for cyclists, it could be a bit tiring because it's always going up and down a little bit. So it's quite hilly. But with those e-bikes, they have a little engine, and you can regulate this engine with your right or left hand. It's there is a handle somewhere on the handlebar, and you can decide how much support you want. You still have to pedal, but once you pedal, the engine will kind of increase the power, and you're going faster and you're going further, and you can save some energy. It's also suitable for people who don't have the same kind of fitness level, because you could take the e-bike, and the one who is fitter, he can take a regular bike, or he can use less support from the engine, so he can have an even speed. And I tell you, cycling uphill was never that much fun. Then what I suggest, when you do this route and you're getting hungry, do a little detour and visit those three ladies. This is the Kambli Biscuit Factory, which is in Trubschachen. This is also in that area. It's probably the most famous biscuit brand of Switzerland. And yeah, when you cycle, you need some energy. So if you have time, you can even do some biscuit workshops. You can make your own cookies there. If you're in a hurry and you just want to stock up your energy, you go and get some biscuits. And yes, the tasting is free. You don't have to pay for it. And this is a psychological trick. You taste those biscuits, and because they're so good, you buy anyway. So don't buy too much, because maybe the bag you bring with you is not that big, but buy enough, because some of the biscuits might be gone by the end of the day, and you still want to bring back some biscuits for your beloved ones in Singapore. Then the local routes, the 48 local routes we have with the 3 digits, it's more like cycling around the place where you are staying. The example here that I want to give you is the Bödeli route. Bödeli is the name that the people of Interlaken use to name the area between Lake Thun and Lake Brienz. And when you're this is really like a cycling round trip, 15, 16 kilometers around the greater Interlaken area, mainly flat. Yeah, flat. It is flat. You see then the marshlands, and you can also admire the snow-covered mountains from the village center of Interlaken. And once you're in Interlaken, you will realize that this place has much more to offer than just cycling around. It's actually a perfect hub for all outdoor people. If you want to have it a bit easy, on the left, you take a train ride up to Jungfraujoch. This is the highest train station of Europe, 3,500 meters above sea level, with a fantastic view over the Aletsch Glacier. Or if you don't have that much time, you can just go up to the Harder on the right-hand side with a viewing platform, beautiful restaurant. It's just above Interlaken, and you will see the whole lakes and mountain areas. So Interlaken is actually also a good spot for the mountain bikers, but I don't want to talk too much about the real mountain biking. Actually, all the routes you've seen before, or all the routes that you can do with the road bikes, you can also do with mountain bikes, of course, or with the e-bikes, or with the touring bikes. It's all possible. The real mountain biking, like you see it here, is really like for very, very experienced mountain bikers, because they have some quite difficult downhill trails. But if someone is really, really, really interested in that, you can still visit our website, myswitzerland.com, and choose the mountain biking section, or you can get in touch with our Travel Wander ladies, and they could still connect you with me, and I can give you more information about that. Another point I want to mention is, or another activity is the trail running, but also here, not too much. I also want to show you just a few varieties of the trail running. This is most likely the most extreme one, also above Interlaken on the Brienzer Grat, the Brienzer Ridge. But I think you agree with me here also, the view is amazing. Or here along the glacier, the Aletsch Glacier, an excellent training for your stamina, and of course also something for your ice. Also, I mean the ice, your ice, not the ice that we have on the glacier here. If it's too hot after running, a free refreshment in one of the mountain lakes. Those lakes up in the mountains are really refreshing. So don't expect water temperatures of 24 degrees. It's more like 14, 15 degrees, but it does the trick. It really cools you down. The water is very clear, and if it's not mentioned in a way with a sign that swimming is prohibited, then you're allowed to swim, to jump into the water, but be careful. There are no lifeguards around, and swimming is at your own risk. Maybe you just stay near the shore so that you can just walk a little bit. If you don't feel like running in the mountains because this is too much, then maybe you want to run in the cities. Even in the cities, we have some stairs and places where you can run up and down, but also flat, like here in the city of Lugano, beautiful runs along the lake. All the cities as well in Switzerland, most of them, they are near a lake or a river, and you can do an easy run, 20, 30 minutes maybe in the morning before breakfast if you feel like doing that. You can also ask the guys at the hotel. They often have some maps where they show you the best running routes. And if you're really into running through cities, there are also certain city marathons that take place every now and then. Important when you're running, drink enough water. There are free hydration points all over Switzerland. When you see those fountains, you find them everywhere, in every village, in every city. You can drink the water directly from the tap. This is drinking water quality. Don't drink it from the basin there. Just take it directly from the tap. And yeah, that's free drinking water all over Switzerland. That's why I always recommend you to bring an empty bottle. And you just fill your bottles at these hydration points. Just for your information, whenever I'm in Switzerland, I never buy water. I always get it for free. So profit from this. Let's go to winter. We heard it before from Cheryl. She mentioned winter. And this is definitely something you don't have in Singapore. That's why you should explore Switzerland also in wintertime. And something that we created especially for Asian clients is my first ski experience, or your first ski experience. As simple as it is, and as it sounds, it's your first ski experience. So we expect that you don't have any experience before. You don't know how good you are. You don't know what to do, but we will take care of it. You get a ski ticket. You get all the equipment. You don't have to bring anything. You get your ski instructor, and this all results in a smiley face. So what happens? Either the ski instructor picks you up at your hotel, or you meet him in the sport shop. You get your gear. You get your boots. You get your sticks. You get your gloves. You get your helmets. You even get jackets if you need. Sometimes it's just enough what you are wearing. That's good enough, because they don't do anything wild and crazy. The ski instructor, he will or she will teach you how to stand on the skis, how to stop, how to maneuver, how to take turns, and how to balance that you keep on standing. So it's definitely enjoyable. Sometimes it's more enjoyable for the guys who are not skiing because they can take pictures and videos of the guys trying it. But it's usually fun for everybody, and it's like, let's say, a half-day experience. So you can do this after breakfast, before lunch. So you really earn and deserve your lunch afterwards. You see on the picture, it's quite flat. So you will not be speeding down any slopes. It's really safe. If the ski instructor realizes that you are a natural skier and you have some skills that are surprisingly good, you could try to go to a slope that is a bit steeper. And there is even some, or there are even some programs, they guarantee that after 3 days and with the ski instructor, you are able to manage a blue slope. Blue slopes are usually, there are 3 ratings or 3 levels. Blue is the easiest, red is medium, and black are the difficult slopes. So they guarantee that you can master a blue slope at the end of the 3rd days. And this is a promise, that's why high five. And as you see on the right-hand side, we even have some Asian ski instructors in Switzerland. So some of them, of course, all of them, most of them, also the Swiss instructors, they speak, of course, English. And some of them, the Asians, they might speak any other kind of Asian languages. We had a project with some Chinese-speaking ski instructors a couple of years ago, and some, they are still there, and they will take care of the Asian clients. Skiing in wintertime makes you hungry. So I saw this before in one of the comments. Fondue, this is our Swiss version of your hot pot, mainly cheese, as you can see, enjoyed with bread. Sometimes I replace the bread with potatoes or pears to give a little bit of different flavor. This is best enjoyed with friends. Never eat that alone. And even more authentic or even cooler is when you eat it outside on the terrace, enjoying the sun and the view. Even in wintertime, it's no problem. It won't be cold. And on the right-hand side, you see a meat platter. And no, we don't put this meat into the fondue because this is dried meat. We just eat it like that as a snack with some bread and some pickles, and ideally with a glass of Swiss white wine. After the fondue, it's time to do some activities, some more winter activities. I just give you a selection of activities I recommend or I would do and I enjoy very much when I'm in Switzerland. First, that's the sledding or tobogganing. Here, you don't need any skills. You don't need any equipment. Everything will be provided. And those toboggan runs or sledding runs are closed, which means only for the sleds, and there are no skiers or no one else, so it's safe. This street that you see here is actually a mountain pass road, but in wintertime, because there is too much snow, and Cheryl mentioned that before as well, everything is covered with snow. So cars can anyway, they cannot drive up there. So we use it for the sleds. And the bridge you see is actually the train line of the Glacier Express in the Albula Valley, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, this train line. And interestingly, this ride, this sledding adventure, you can do at daytime or even at nighttime because it's illuminated. Could be also quite a nice experience to do this at night. A little bit more active is the cross-country skiing here in St. Moritz. And if you ask yourself, why is this area so flat? It's because it's a lake, a frozen lake. So in wintertime, those lakes are covered with ice and it's safe to use it with your cross-country skis. If you don't feel like taking those skis, but you still want to walk somehow through the snow, you can do a snowshoe hike. And you really go cross-country. just without the skis, but you will wear something like that. This is considered a snowshoe. Old versions, they look a little bit like a tennis racket, but nowadays we have a bit more modern equipment. A bit more romantic maybe. Ice skating, definitely something you should try if you're good in balancing. These are some natural ice fields, but there are also some artificial ice fields like this one in Interlaken as an example. But you find those kind of ice skating rings in all the major cities, in the city centers during the pre-Christmas, Christmas season. And it often comes with some, here you already see there are some food stalls, there's a Christmas market. So if you don't feel like ice skating, you can still go there and have a nice lunch, a nice dinner with friends. There are also some open air bars. So it's quite happening and definitely worth visiting. Next day, if you are more into fun activities, snow tubing, here at Mt Titlis at Trübsee. And the good thing about this one is if you have a valid cable car tickets, and it's not only at Mt Titlis, in the other mountain areas as well, where there are some cable cars and they have these activities, those are included in your ticket, so you don't need to pay extra for it. You can just try. There are usually several type of things to sled down, also tube down. There's also some little sleds. So actually quite fun. Maybe a bit more exotic or more surprising, we also have some husky rides to do in Switzerland. And if this is too exciting, everything, then you can just go and try to do your own Snowangel, or you build a snowman, give him a name, have a friend to hug, even though it's only temporary. And if you're more into the really relaxing and romantic mood, I strongly recommend this ride with this horse sled. This is the Walroseck in the Grisons area near St. Moritz. The more active can also walk, as you can see that on the picture. And we also have in summertime the possibility to do this with the bicycle. And it's really a romantic ride through this valley. Very peaceful because there is no traffic. So it's just the nature and you and the horses. And there is one big reward at the end of this trail or this ride. There is a little restaurant and a little hotel, and to my opinion, they serve the best dessert buffet in whole Switzerland. Everything you see here is, okay, except the fruits, is homemade. They cook and bake all the cakes every day by themselves. It's a bit a sinful buffet, but it's worth. And in wintertime, you anyway need more energy, so you have to eat a little bit more. So this is absolutely fine. And then maybe on the way back, you don't take the horses, you just walk back. After a long day with a lot of energy consumed, or you might need to relax a little bit more. And this is something you shouldn't miss. The hot springs here in Leukerbad in the Valais region, for example, this water has to be cooled down that it's only 36, 37 degrees. Otherwise, it would be too hot and you couldn't swim in it. But if it has this temperature, you can even swim outside during winter time. And it's actually quite a nice experience when your nose is kind of getting cold and you just have to quickly dip into the water, and then everything is nice and warm and really relaxing for your sore muscles. So this is something very, very beautiful. And because we're talking about beautiful things, and my colleagues, before there was this spoiler alert, I want to talk about something else that is absolutely beautiful. I call it not crash landing on you, I call it crash landing on Switzerland, because we were really, really, really fortunate that this series was so successful and they feature Switzerland in every episode. And because Switzerland is very emotional, or emotional place for both main actors, it gives Switzerland, of course, also a very high value. And I was personally very much surprised on the feedbacks of my friends, of colleagues, of clients, of journalists, how they picked it up and they wanted to know more about. And hey, where is this place? I want to go there. I want to see it. Is it really true? Does it look the same? And yes, it does. So I will give you a few inputs where to find what. I have to admit, I saw the whole series because I was so excited to see some Switzerland in this show. So it was my first ever completed Korean drama series. And the thing or the picture that caught my attention is the picture we have here on the right, not because of the actor and the actress, it's because this is the Lindenhof Square in Zurich, and I am from Zurich. This is one of my absolutely most famous places. Whenever I'm in Zurich, I go to the square and I enjoy the view on the old town. And when I saw this picture in the trailer, I was like, okay, I need to see that. Well, here you see the three places that you can find in Zurich that are featured in the show. The circled is the famous Twin Towers of Switzerland, the Frau Münster, the Grossmünster. Frau Münster is on the other side. The bridge called Münster Bridge. Münster is an old word for a cathedral. This bridge connects the two cathedrals. And the third is the Paradeplatz, which is also a square, also in walking distance from the other two places. Just as a start in Zurich. But then now we're talking, because this is, most of the spots are more or less in the greater Interlaken area. You can see we start on the left-hand side with the suspension bridge. It has been mentioned before by Cheryl. And we have in Interlaken itself, there was the scene with the concert and the gala dinner in one of the five-star hotels, the Victoria Jungfrau. We have on the northern part where the final scene takes place when the two main actors getting reunited. Sorry if I spoil if I spoil the story for those who haven't finished the show yet, but it was to be expected that they will meet each other. Then we have at the Lake Brienz, we have the landing pier and the very, very famous piano scene where the main actor plays his piano directly at the lake, and also the female actor, the female character, she takes a boat trip on this Lake Brienz, a beautiful 75 minutes boat ride. Then the more active part we see at the bottom of the page with the First, it's called First, even though you might say First, but it's First, the paragliding scenes and the mountain excursion, the hiking scenes at Kleine Scheideck and Jungfraujoch. And to make it a bit easier to visualize, here again, this is the panorama bridge in Sigriswil, and look at this beautiful view. No wonder people want to go there, and no wonder those Korean actors, they went there to take some pictures, because this is really breathtaking. And again, no Photoshop. The dinner scene and the scene of the final concert takes place in the Victoria Jungfrau Grand Hotel in Interlaken. Is really in the center. Actually, if you remember before, I showed you this picture with the ice skating rink at night. It's just opposite. It's just there. Beautiful hotel, beautiful restaurant, wonderful spa. So if you really want to pamper yourself, stop there. Then the hiking scene and the mountain excursion, as mentioned, is Jungfraujoch. Easy to go there. There are trains. You start the whole trip in Interlaken, and then there are kind of two ways to get to the peak. I recommend to do it as a round trip. From Interlaken, you go via Lauterbrunnen. You go up to the place called Kleine Scheideck. This is the one on the right. There you have to change the train again. And from there, you go up to Jungfraujoch, the picture on the left. On the way down, you go down to Kleine Scheideck again. You change the train, which is just on the platform next to the platform you arrive. And you go down the other way to Grindelwald. That's the place that Mabel wants to visit. And from there, you go back to Interlaken. Fantastic round trip, and you will take a lot of pictures. Then the piano scene. This is probably, the most famous scene of the whole series. Takes place or has been shot here in Iseltwald. A nice picturesque village directly at the lake, of course, otherwise there wouldn't be a landing pier. And yes, if you take this boat trip, you will stop at this specific pier, and you can really walk on the same jetty like Hyun Bin did. If you do this boat trip, you also see the Grand Hotel Giesbach, one of the historic hotels of Switzerland. Dates back to 1873. A French architect built this for a famous hotel owner family from the Zurich area, but they wanted to have this beautiful building in the Lake Brienz area. You reach this hotel by a cable car or by a funicular, and this funicular starts at the lake. So you arrive by boat, then you take the funicular and you go up. In the movie, it was the music school where the main actor was a music student. Then, last but not least, almost last but not least, Grindelwald First. That's the scene where the female character, she did her paragliding sessions. You could do that there, but if this is a bit too scary for you, I have some alternatives, like you see on the right. It's called the First Flyer, like a zip line, or you just enjoy the cliff walk, where you can admire the beautiful landscape. Or if you also want some action and fun, I can also recommend the mountain carts to go back to Grindelwald on 3 wheels. This all will lead you to a happy end, and also the 2 actors, they needed a happy end. That's why they need Switzerland. The last scene, this is really like the last scene. They meet each other at the shores of Lake Lucerne, which is a lake above the Brienz area. It's on the way to Lucerne by train, by car, by bicycle, on foot, whatever you choose. If you take this way from Brienz up the hill towards Lucerne, you will pass by this area. On the left-hand side of the pictures, maybe you can see there's like a white dot. This is actually a car. So this is the main road. And just a stone throw away from the place they took this picture is also a hotel and a little restaurant. So it's easy to get there. Also a little train station is there, by the way. So easy to get there. So since they have a happy end, we also come to a happy end. I would love to share much more, but we call it a day for now. Follow us on social media if you want to know more. Facebook is a special page for Southeast Asia. The other ones are international versions on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, where you can see all the beautiful movies about Switzerland. Since we cannot travel now, we dream now, we travel later, and book with Travel Wonder, fall in love with Switzerland, and I'm looking forward to welcome you in Switzerland. And back to Mabel and Cheryl for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Oliver.
Thank you,
That was
Oliver.
a great presentation.
Welcome back. You're still here, not in Switzerland yet? Okay.
Yes. You make my heart flutter with the ending of Yongbin. Okay, let me see. Okay, we have quite a lot of fair bits of questions from the audience. So before I go on to read out the questions, I'd like to let everybody know, this is very important, I must say, that Travel Wonder has 17 cycling itineraries, more than 25 hiking and trail running itineraries. We have a dedicated itinerary that brings you to all the CLOY locations and a winter active funds itinerary too, making use of the Swiss Travel Pass as your mode of transportation. We can also customize a Swiss itinerary specifically to your needs. All you need to do is get in touch with us. So now let's take a look at the post result first. Okay, the first question that we asked was, have you been to Switzerland? So it's almost a tie. 55% of the voters say yes and 45% say no. We asked, who wants to hike in Switzerland? Show us your hand. 88% say yes and 12% say maybe, let me think about it. And then when it comes to cycling, 62% say yes, I want. And 38% maybe, think about it.
That's good. I like that.
You like that?
Yeah.
Now we come to the high altitude trail running.
Okay, there the figures might change a bit now.
Only 22% say I'm game. 44% will think about it. And 33% say, are we crazy?
Yeah, well, sometimes it's good to be crazy.
Yeah. And then for enchanting Swiss winter wonderland, 100% say yes. And last but not least, who wants crash landing on Switzerland? 88% say yes, and only 13% says let's do something else.
As long as you go to Switzerland, it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we look at the questions. We really have a lot of questions, and I hope the audience are still around. Okay, Raza asked, is there any restriction to fly the drone?
Yes, there are some restrictions. I think this is something everywhere the same. Near airports, airfields, it's not allowed. And there is, I don't know the law by word now, but if the person really wants to have the exact regulations, I could look it up and send it to you guys, and then you can share with this client. Usually you can fly with drones. A lot of photographers use it, but just, certain privacy things and security measures needs to be respected, but then you can use drones.
Okay, Raza, so if you want to know more information, or you perhaps let us know where do you want to fly the drone, and then we can check with Oliver on your behalf. So now we move on to Wayit. Wayit asks if there is any peak or lull period to avoid. Are you referring to hiking season or cycling? Let me see. Wayit, would you tell us if you are referring to hiking or cycling for the seasonality? For hiking, usually you start from April up to October, depending on which region you go. But for all the high altitude hiking, the hiking seasons can only start from mid-June onwards, because the snow will melt and then the area will be deemed more safe for hiking. Yeah. And then Paul asked, can we bring bicycles onto the train? I told him mostly yes. Do you need to correct the answer, Oliver?
No, it's correct. You just need to get a ticket for the bicycle.
Okay, 100% bikes on all trains, or up to 99%?
Yeah, let's say up to 99. Usually it's not a problem. They have, especially when it's an area where there are a lot of bikers, they have even kind of special bike compartments. So they will load the bikes for you. Sometimes you just have to bring it to the regular train wagon, and then you need to find somewhere a space. But usually in the areas with a lot of bikers, there is enough space, and then 99% of the trains are out.
Yes, I can share this with Paul in details, because in fact, in all public transportation, including buses, So on some of the bicycles, especially those up in the mountains that brings people up to the mountain, they actually have bike racks at the back of the bus.
Yeah.
Even if there isn't, you can actually bring the bicycle up inside the bus. I have tried that, and then the driver don't even bat an eyelid, to be honest. Then even onto all the cable cars, the funiculars, everywhere that is for public to use, your bicycle can go to.
Mm.
Yes.
They always find a way. They always try to find a solution for you. So don't you worry about that.
Yes. And then Irene Tan asked, can we drink water from the river?
You could. I mean, sometimes when I used to say when I swim in one of the lakes, I swim with my mouth open. And when I dive down, I take a sip of water and I even see the fishes smiling because the water is so clear. Yes, it would be drinking water quality, so don't you worry if there's some water going into your mouth. But I still recommend to take your water bottle and fill it up at one of the taps when you see a fountain somewhere.
Yes, I really attest to that. And one thing that it can help you to save a lot of money when you are in Switzerland is you do not need to buy bottled mineral water from the supermarkets, because all the waters from the fountains are natural from the mountains, and you can just drink it all from the tap. And that's what I do when I'm in Switzerland. Just have a water bottle and you fill up as you go. Especially during the summer months, the water is so cooling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jaron asks, is there any link to show hiking routes? So when Travel Wonder is planning, maybe you want to take this?
For our hiking routes, actually we have a trip plan for hiking in Switzerland. It's on our website under Wonder Collection. It's planned for September this year, 12th to the 18th of September. So this will be done as a small group with members from Travel Wonder. But if you're looking for other holidays, other hiking or cycling trips for Switzerland, just go to our website under destination, you search for Switzerland, or under trips, you can search for hiking or cycling depending on your interest, and find it under the destination Switzerland, and you'll be able to see all the trips that we have planned, all the active holidays.
Okay. Irene has a question for Oliver. Why rings the bell at 9 o'clock?
That's historical. Usually that time, in the medieval times, at 9 o'clock, they closed all the gates. They locked down the city. So at 9 o'clock, it was also time, okay, we close, go to bed. Days
Okay.
Those were the days.
Okay. And Oshek asks, how much is the tour? I presume he's asking about one of the hiking or the cycling tours. So normally it will cost about 1,000 over Singapore dollars, about 1,002, and it will comes with accommodations, bike rentals, and
luggage
transfer, yes,
daily breakfast as well.
Yes, and also very detailed hiking or cycling route. Yes, so it's mostly self-guided, as Oliver have shared. It is very well signposted, and even people for me who is not good with orientation didn't get lost. So I'm sure everybody else can do better than me. So Colleen asked, can we do this next year? I presume she's referring to hiking because she said she has not been cycling since primary school days.
Yes, Colleen, we actually have a hiking program for Switzerland planned next year. It's in the pipeline. It's under our calendar of action. So you can refer there to see all the schedules that we have planned in for year 2021.
Okay. And then the e-bikes that Oliver mentioned about is actually power assist bike. What does it mean is that it's not like those kind of e-scooter where you sit there, you just turn the throttle and it will move. Okay, the e-bikes in Switzerland are power assisted. If you don't pedal, the bicycle will not move.
Exactly.
Yes. So once you pedal, it's actually make it more effortlessly. So you don't need to use a lot of energy, and you can move the bicycle even up the hill or the slope. No problem, no issue at all. Okay. Paul has another question. He asks, where is Lugano? Is it near to Lake Como?
Yes, not far away. There's Lake Lugano, and a bit further down is Lake Como. So If you drive, maybe 20, 30 minutes, you're there. But Lake Como is
Okay.
already Italy. No need to go there. Maybe he wants to visit George Clooney. I don't know, but yeah.
Paul really wants the water bottle very much because I know he sleep very early. This is way past his sleeping time.
Thank you, Paul.
Irene would like to try tobogganing. We probably will speak to you more and see how we could plan something for you and for your family too. Yes, and a lot of people ask about the horse riding. We will put up some information where can you go for the horse ridings that Oliver mentioned and also the hot springs. Ideally, if you have the time, it's good to spend about 2 weeks in Switzerland. And I can tell you it's still not enough because 2 weeks you don't really can cover a lot. But if time is a constraint to you, please give yourself 8 days. Minimum 8 days in order to see Switzerland in depth. Okay. Then Irene asked if is Zurich airport near to is Zurich near to the airport? Sorry.
Yes, it is. If you take a train, it's 10 to 15 minutes. You arrive at the main station. So, and the train station at the airport is in the airport building itself. So you just go down to the railway tracks, and then there's every now and then there is a train. 10, 15 minutes, depending on the speed you're at the Zurich main station.
Okay.
Yes.
Wai has a question. He's asking for recommendation whether are the cities Zurich and Geneva worth a visit or Lucerne, Berne.
All of them. No, I mean, okay, I am from Zurich. Zurich is a must. Anyway, you arrive there. But it all depends a little bit what you want to do. I mean, if you are a watch lover, you love watches, then go to Geneva because this is the cradle of watchmaking. You saw before in the pictures there's a huge fountain. This is like a symbol and it is connected to watchmaking, and you found a lot of beautiful watch brands down there. If you like more like architecture, history, beautiful buildings, go to Berne. The old town of Berne is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and there's even a beautiful bear park where you can see real bears. Absolutely beautiful place as well. And if you like the best combination of cities and mountains, then go to Lucerne because you have the lake there. You can do trips on the lake, combine it with cable cars, mountain experiences, go back to the town. Every city has its special character, and maybe you have to choose the city according to the rest of your itinerary, or come back again and then visit the other 2 cities. Make 2 and 2.
Okay, I think if we have covered all the questions.
Yeah, I think more or less. But if we have missed out any of your questions, we will reply to them in the comments later on.
I saw one before. This run, here there's a running by the side of the glacier. Can it be done by hiking? Yes, of course. I mean, all the trail you can also do as a hiker, of course.
Yes, vice versa.
Yeah.
Okay, exactly. One last question for Oliver.
Yes.
Oliver, can you turn around and point to me where's Zurich?
Here.
Well done.
That's an easy one.
Okay. Yeah, over back to you, Mabel.
Okay, so I have a couple more slides to share with everybody before we end today's session. Okay, just a recap again on where to find all the trips that we have for Switzerland. As mentioned by Cheryl earlier on, we have close to 40 cycling and hiking trips to Switzerland. So you can find it on our website at www.travel-wonder.com. Under destination, you can search Switzerland. Otherwise, you can also search under trips, either hiking or cycling, and the destination Switzerland.
Yeah, we will put the link into the comments later on.
Yes. So for next Wednesday's midweek chatter with Wonder Girls, we have our friend from Hong Kong who will be coming on live to share with us some tips on making fluffy cupcakes and how to pipe them beautifully. So do stay tuned if you'd like to receive the recipe for baking cupcakes. And next Friday, we have our Weeknights with Wonder Girls. It's at 9:30 p.m. and we will be having the representative from Gangwon-do to come on board to share about this beautiful province in South Korea that's known for its natural landscapes, and it's also the home of the famous Cheongsam National Park. We also feature a lot of our cycling and hiking programs in Gangwon-do. So do stay tuned to next Friday at 9:30 p.m. to learn more about this beautiful South Korean province. This is our contact number. We can be reached by WhatsApp at +65 8714 3321 or our website at www.travel-wonder.com. Thank you so much for staying for tonight's presentation. Hope you enjoyed the journey to Switzerland that Oliver has brought you through.